What's up everyone? Thank you for joining me for another video. Today it's a running shoe again, but it's a running shoe that everyone has probably purchased at some point throughout their life, and that is the Nike Air Pegasus. Not this one. This one. The Nike Air Pegasus 38. Pretty thing, isn't it? I'll open up the same way I do every video, and if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. If you haven't subscribed but have clicked through anyway, thank you. If you do get anything out of the video or you like any of the content that I'm putting out there, please subscribe and support the channel. Hit like as well if you do like the video, and comment down below if you've got anything to say, even if that is a suggestion on how you think I can improve the channel by changing the way I produce content. Also, I've got an Instagram page. Go over there and check it out. It's 3 kicks a day. I'm usually posting content there daily. So I thought it was a bit of fun just to give a bit of a nod back to the original Pegasus. This guy is the original Nike Pegasus released in 1983. It is really hard today to imagine how this was the everyday runner back then, probably the standard for running. It is very, very far from what we would consider today to be a performance-based runner. It has absolutely no material on the upper that is breathable. This particular version is all suede, and I think that's also how the original would have been released as well. Underneath we've got some thick full coverage rubber that would do no favors from a weight perspective, but like everything, we just appreciate what we've got at the time, and we know that as time goes on that there will be this beautiful thing called evolution where we'll start to see improvements on products. I still wear this on a casual basis, and I've also noticed that on the Nike release calendar they will be re-releasing a couple of colorways of the original 83, so maybe I'll cop a pair of those and give a review and see how they compare against this version that I've got from quite a few years ago. Anyway, back to the star of the show, and it is the Nike Air Pegasus 38. Usually when I review a pair of runners, well, let's be honest, I am always really excited to talk about shoes or runners or whatever footwear product it is. But normally if it's a runner and I'm really, really excited, or I'm super duper anticipating something, it would usually be because it's either an all new model, there's some all new tech, or it's probably something that's coming from a company that we wouldn't have expected them to produce. In this case though, what I am looking forward to is a even number iteration of a running shoe from Nike. So for those of you who are watching who might not know the significance of a odd number update versus an even number update, typically within the Nike running shoe range at least, the odd numbers, so your 1s, your 3s, your 5s, etc., they would typically indicate a more major update to the running shoe, whereas your even numbers like your 2s, your 4s, your 6s and so on, what they would usually be is a more minor update or an update that's usually limited to the upper. Nike had redesigned the Pegasus for the 37th iteration, giving it an all-new cushioning system and a whole new upper. With the Pegasus 37, I personally found an incredibly tight fit around the forefoot that made it really difficult for me to enjoy any longer run in this shoe. I think the longest I took it out for was a 10k run, and I can't imagine doing any more in it. My foot was just so cramped that I probably wouldn't have been able to walk home wherever I would have stopped had I kept going. And the other issue was in the heel fit. It was a more minor issue because I feel like as I got into the run, I forgot about it. But the way I would describe the issue that I felt was that my heel felt like it would be slipping out. It was secure, it wasn't actually slipping out. And I think it had something to do with just the way that this particular area was designed and where it actually fit on the heel. With the Pegasus 38 though, I can tell you that those issues have absolutely been resolved. If you are skeptical, I guess, head into a Nike store or any retailer that will be stocking the Pegasus 38 and you will see that those two issues have been absolutely addressed. As soon as I put this on in store, I can tell you that there was a comfortable fit in the forefoot and your heel actually feels really well supported and snug at the back. Those are not the only changes to the upper though. While those are the major changes to the upper from the 37 to the 38, the other change you will notice if you have run in the 37 is that the tongue has been redesigned and is much more padded. In any case, what I'd love to do is go through the Pegasus 38 and give you my impressions of how they went on my first run. I was really impressed, but there are some issues that have carried over from the 37, which I'll get to as we go through the different components. But before we do that, I do want to talk about what the shoe is and what it isn't. And what it is a neutral running shoe with a Nike React foam and Zoom Air in the forefoot, 27.5 mil stack in the heel, 17.5 mil stack in the forefoot, giving us a 10 mil drop. It has a mesh upper, it fits true to size, and it comes in at 255 grams or 9 ounces for a US men's size 9. I've had to change positions because my battery was running low. I don't want to delay the video and I don't really want to go through that whole introduction again. So I will just talk about what it's not. And what it's not, it isn't the 37. And that means that if you did have issues with the 37's fit, you will likely be able to notice a huge difference with the 38. It is likely to give a really different running experience if you experienced any of those fit issues that I described earlier. Now, let's talk about the shoe, and what we'll do first is talk about the outsole. And what we've got here is a significant amount of rubber coverage in a traction pattern that is identical to the 37. I feel like it is a standard type of looking outsole for an everyday trainer. There is a good amount of coverage, it gives good traction, and you would think that durability coming off this type of pattern would be really good as well. It worked well on my first run. I would normally expect that, but this one will be something that we talk a little bit more about through the progressive review. Into the midsole, and what we have is the exact same tech that you would have seen in the Pegasus 37. So that is a full React midsole, Zoom Air in the forefoot that is tuned differently for females and males, and the design of the midsole is exactly the same as well. Characterizing the React midsole in the Pegasus 38, I would say that it's cushioned and it would prefer to go faster than slower. It is an everyday trainer, but I find that with the Pegasus series at least, it is more happier going at those slightly faster paces versus being a more cruisy runner. So keep that in mind if that's what you're looking for. If you are solely looking for an everyday trainer that you want to use for slower paces, I'm not sure how this would do, just coming off of my experience with the Pegasus 37. But if you're looking for something that can do it all with a focus on faster paces, I think that this would be a good pick as far as everyday trainers go. Moving into the upper, and this is where we're seeing all the changes with the Pegasus 38. So what we do have is a completely redesigned heel. It doesn't feel the same way, not even close to how the Pegasus 37 fit. It is a more rounded design and it feels more robust. As soon as you put your foot in, you certainly feel like your heel is being secured in place with the design here. This area as well is nicely padded and there's quite a bit of structure there as well. The rest of the upper is in a mesh that I find a lot more nicer and a whole lot more comfortable than what we found in the 37, but it's the fit that is the absolute hero here. On my run, it gave me no issues, the fit that is. Now moving into the tongue, and what we've got is a redesigned tongue that is a little bit bigger and has a lot more padding than what you found in the 37. It is gusseted, but to be honest with you, I didn't really have an issue with the tongue in the 37, so it's not something that I took much notice of in the 38, but I think it's an update that's been really cleverly implemented. Just given the redesigned forefoot, the more comfortable heel, it would make sense to add a bit of comfort through that tongue just to elevate everything a little bit more. Now there is one issue that's carried over from the 37 for me, and that is a hot spot in the ball of my foot. It is something that typically does come in shoes that have a more aggressive drop, like the Pegasus 38 with its 10mm drop. I think it's because of the way my foot sits in the shoe itself. But I've found in the past that usually sock choices can really determine how uncomfortable that is. I may not have been wearing the perfect sock for this particular shoe on my first run, and so I did experience a little bit of a hot spot in the ball of my foot. It was nothing that was unbearable, but it is something I will be keeping an eye on as I head towards 50k to give a progressive review on the Pegasus 38. I am really glad to see the updates that have been made to the Pegasus 38. They have absolutely addressed the pain points that I personally had with the Pegasus 37. Having said that though, there is an interesting question that some people might have, and that is, should I upgrade to the Pegasus 38? The answer to that is really going to depend on how your experience has been with the Pegasus 37's upper, because the ride is identical. But if you're like the many people who had those issues that I spoke about earlier with the fit on the 37, you will not be disappointed by the 38. The really good thing about the 38 is that it's still available at the same retail price that the 37 was available at least here in Australia it is. And it is a great option for an everyday trainer that has a particular tendency to want to go fast. In any case, it is in the rotation now. I am going to try and get it to 50k as quick as I can so I can come back and give a progressive review on it. I'm interested to hear of anyone else's experiences with the 38 or 37 for that matter. Let us know in the comments below if you plan on getting the 38. But until the next video, laters.